Okay, now we're going to learn something interesting that will help you to understand the terms that you hear a lot when you listen to radio or you watch TV, and you probably have heard this word, CPI. We talk about this a lot, right? Okay, now before this, I'm going to introduce you something else. First of all, let me see. The CPI is a consumer price index. So that's a CPI. Okay, that's what a CPI stands for. All right, now before that, let's talk about the index number. Index. Like a stock price, or you heard this a lot. Okay, we talk about let's see, what is the index? The index number, there's a formula, which is the value over reference value. Then multiply by 100%. All right, so this is the value, and this index number, they have like a one-to-one relationship. The reference value, you have to make the decision earlier or it will be given. All right, now for example, gas price. The gas price in 1985, it was the gas price at that time was $1.20 per gallon. That's a price. All right, and then in 2020, it's $2.26 per gallon. Okay. I ask you to do this. Find the gas price index in 2020. How do you find it? Based on the formula, the index number will be the value which is in the 2020's value divided by the reference value, because we're going to refer to 1985, so that's $1.20. So what we're going to do is we're going to use $2.26 over $1.20. Don't forget, multiply by 100%, because we would use percent to show that. And then if you use your calculator, 2.26 over 1.2, you're going to get a 1.883. So you have a 1.883 multiplied by 100%. Okay, so you're going to have 188.3%. I hope that you know how to do this, because you're going to go from here to here. You keep the percent sign, so you just use 1.883 multiplied by 100, and then you're going to get that. Therefore, the gas price index in 2020 is this. Okay, so the price index, which is the index, you try to find what is the index over whatever the reference price or the reference value. Again, don't forget to multiply by 100%. Now let me briefly talk about a CPI. It's fairly it's really the easy introduction. This CPI is based on the average of prices for a sample of more than 60,000 goods, services, and housing costs. It includes a lot of things. This is computed and reported. It comes out monthly. So they take the price of this many stuff, and then they do the calculation. There is a certain way to do it, of course. There's like a formula or weight or whatever. So they put something there, and then you figure out a number, and that number is called CPI. And you're going to be able to find the CPI. Do you know where to find it? All right. There is a place, if you go to the website, you should be able to go to here. It's called a U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. If you go to their website, it's a government website. If you go to the website, you're gonna see under in the website there's like subjects, and then you can choose CPI. There's like a CPI homepage, and then they're gonna compare that. They're gonna tell you the change of all items or food or energy or things like that. So they're gonna report this every month. All right. So that's how you find the CPI. Now usually in book or in somewhere they give you the average annual consumer price index, because for each year there are 12 months, so you can go there and you can find the average of this 12 months index, and then you get the average annual CPI. All right, now what it comes, usually they go like this. They get the year, so they're going to list the year, and they're going to list the CPI. So they have all this and not done yet, so you can have a year and the CPI. Okay, so you're gonna have like numbers like this. All right, now usually we treat the 1982 to 84. If it's 1982, 82, 83, 84, you take the average of that, and we treat that as 100 as a baseline, like the benchmark. And then later, right now, okay, CPI. Here is 20, let's say 23, 2024. If I have a number, it's going to be greater than 100, and here is also greater than 100. So that's a CPI, and that's compared with that. For example, if you have a number, I think it's somewhere around like 2006, 2006, and it's somewhere about 200. I just think it's very, very close. So if this CPI is 200, that means from like a early 80s to like a mid of 2006, right? It's how many years? Like 23 years. Almost the price doubled. The consumer price index doubled, which means your living expense doubled and everything gets much more expensive. The price almost doubled. So that's what it says. All right, now we're gonna use this table, the table that you get from this Bureau of Labor Statistics. You can calculate the other important, we call it inflation. Have heard that, because you probably have heard that your parent or inflation rate. Okay. Everybody complained about that, right? You're going to say, hey, the inflation rate, inflation is really high. What does that mean? Inflation rate is the later CPI minus early CPI and divided by early CPI. All right. Now, if in 1988 CPI 1988 the CPI is 118.3, and in 1989 the CPI is, if you look at the government website, right, we can find from whatever is given, is 120.4. Now what is the inflation rate from 88 to 89? Inflation rate, okay, how fast the price goes up. Make sense? So the inflation rate will be later CPI minus early CPI, so it's 124.0 minus 118.3 divided by the early CPI, because we compared with this, right? We go from 88 to 89, so that is the reference value. So that's the early, okay? And then you are going to get, the number is 0.048, and it's about 4.8%. So this is the inflation rate. Inflation rate from 88 to 89. Guess what? If you happen to be working during that time, next year you probably need to talk to your boss. I need a raise. I need a raise at least 4.8% in order to beat the inflation rate. Because otherwise, you're not making more than you have, then the price increasing rate. Okay, the price goes up, but your salary didn't go that much. So you can look at what is your salary increase rate. It has to be able to beat the CPI. Why? Because you gain more experience, isn't it? You get more experience, you're more familiar with all the jobs and everything, so you should make more, relatively more, right? All right, now, one more thing I want to teach you is we learned the price, and we learned CPI, the price index, and everything like that. Okay, now let me ask you this: if in 1982, 83, 83, around that time, the CPI is 100, and in 2006, the CPI is 200. Okay, so if at this time the gas price was, let's say $1 per gallon, so and here you might want to look at the gas price here. If the gas price is $2 per gallon, which means the price increased or the price goes up by like 100%, the inflation rate is 100% of the gas and also the CPI. They're pretty much the same. They grow up at the same rate. However, if the price was 1 gallon here, but you get 3 gallons here, that means the gas is relatively more expensive. Make sense? Because it's supposed to be growing at the same rate as the CPI growing, or at the inflation rate. What does that mean? Let me give you one example. Okay, the gas price in again, we like to use this because we need gas every day, right? The gas price in 2000, I just said the average, okay, is 2.09 per gallon. All right, now if the price changed at the same rate as the CPI change, then what would be the adjusted price for the year of 2020? What would be, right? What would you adjust the price in 2020? Okay. You probably have heard that the price adjusted. How do they adjust it? They adjust it according to the change of a CPI. All right, now I want to give you one quick thing. It's the new price compared with the old price should be the same as the new CPI over the old CPI. That's when you adjust the price. Okay, what does that mean? Let's see. In 2020, my CPI is okay, here's the CPI number. It's given, okay, I always give you that. It's 258.8. And in 2000, it's 172.2. All right, so the CPI goes from 172.2 to 257.8. Then how much would be this gas price go from 2.09 to what? To the new adjusted price. What should be the adjusted price? Okay, which means equivalent. All right, now this is the new price that we don't know. We just assume this is X because we don't know that. That's what we're looking for. Therefore, X divided by the old price, 2.09, should be the same as the new CPI, should be the same rate, at the same ratio. The new CPI, 258.8 over 172.2. Now this is the most important application of it. And the next, you're going to cross multiply, right? In order to solve for this X, you can either multiply by 2.09 on both sides, or you do cross multiply, which is X times 172.2 equals 2.09 times 258.8. Okay, let me write it. So you can do this. You can cross multiply. You can cross multiply. Then you get an X times 172.2 equals 2.09 times 258.8. In order to solve for x, you just divide it by 172.2 on both sides. And of course, when you cross that, and you divide it, it's gone. So you're gonna get your x will be, if you use calculator, okay, I just don't want to spend time to do that, and that price is going to be 3.14 per gallon. Okay, that will be the new adjusted price. And the other one is you simply just multiply by 2.08 on both sides. So you can have 258.8 times 2.09 divided by 172.2. So you have your x will be $3.14 per gallon. That's your answer. All right. So the price of the gas in 2000 was 2.09 per gallon. If the price of the gas going to be adjusted in 2020, how would you adjust the price? You have to use the CPI as your benchmark. You have to use the CPI to get the ratio. So you use the new CPI versus old CPI, which is this over that. It's like a 1 point something. And then this 2.08 should go up to that number based on the same ratio, at the same rate. So that is your answer. All right, so this is the CPI and also the price index. So I give you the two prices. You should be able to tell me what is the index number. And also, we always give the CPI table, so you don't really need to find it by yourself, but just in case if you need it, and you know where to find it, right? And so that's the CPI. Be careful, U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. You can Google that. And at the end, we give you the CPI table, then you should be able to tell me what is the adjusted price. Okay. To be fair, right, to adjusted price, that means there's not too much change compared with everything else. That's this section.